This tutorial focuses on how to get a stream from an LLM and display it to the web page with HTMX coming in as individual chunks. The starting point of this video is the ending point of video 3 in this series. So you'll need to grab the GitHub repository prior to starting this video. To start the video, first copy the Python file from video 3 into a new Python file for video 4. I'm calling mine LLM_stream.py. We'll also make some changes to the HTML file that FastAPI is serving up. So copy the file LLM connect and paste it into a new file. Rename it for LLM stream. And in this case, I'll start it with for-llm-stream.html. We can now start editing the Python file. The first one is that in FastAPI, the route for the web page, the home route, we're not using FastAPI as an API server. We're going to convert the name to the new HTML file, which is stored in the templates directory. And now, without modifying it from lesson 3, I'm going to use UVcorn. You need to have installed this from the previous tutorial. And I'm going to start up the web server for FastAPI. We're going to go to localhost 8000. Now you have the web page updating without the web page actually reloading. It's giving the chunk of data as a single chunk because we did not specify a stream for the LLM. The syntax of the request, which is a post that's made to the stream, is quite different. So we'll have to make some changes here. The major one is that it's a client stream and not a client post. And then this JSON portion, we can use it as is. We need to put whether it's a post up there above the URL, the endpoint. And one of the other conventions is that we're going to use a syntax for as response or as RESP, which is a bit different than the syntax from just the API generate as a single, just to get the response as a single piece of data. So we need to put the post in quotes, which is whether it's a post or a GET or another protocol. The syntax is also different in that we're going to use the convention of async with and not assign it a variable. So the response is now below that on line 30 where it says as RESP or response. So we made the request, but we can't deal with the response right now. To actually get the response that we want, we're going to need to set up a for loop. I'll first clean up some of the yield statements. Again, the async io.sleep is because it's a tutorial and I want to emphasize that the screen, the web page is changing the content with the connection open using server sent events. So the waiting is simply for the demonstration. It's not the program doesn't need it. I'm gonna unindent the async.io sleep and the event close so that it runs after the stream has finished processing. So after you get the data in, and then we need to process the stream now. After that's finished, it's going to sleep for 1 second. And well, you don't need it to be 1 second. It could be a shorter period of time. And then you close it. You send the event to close the stream. That is then sent to the SSE. So for the actual data, we're going to set up an async for loop using the response dot it's a iterate or asynchronous iterate lines. We have access to this because we're using HTTPX and not Python requests. So it will iterate through the lines that's coming in. And it's going to check for blank lines. Then we're going to use the JSON decode to get the lines using the Python JSON package, which we need to import. Just in case we're getting a data that we can't load with the JSON.loads, we're going to create an exception with an error exception, just in case that the JSON cannot decode. And we'll print it to the server console that there's been an error in the data that has been received and our processing of the data. So we next need to create a template, an HTML file that the FastAPI server can serve up. In this tutorial, we're having the FastAPI server serve up the HTML. It's not functioning as a dedicated API server. So I'm going to copy the LLM-connect, which I downloaded from GitHub. I'm going to change the name to LLM streaming.html. And because this is the 4th tutorial in the HTMX series, I'm going to start the file name with the number 4. So it's 4-LLM-stream.html. Now in the Python code is connected to it, so we need to change the name in the Python code so that the file matches. Let's print out the lines to see where we are. So since it's in a loop, we should get a fair bit of output here. So there's a delay, intentional, and you can see how fast each little chunk of the stream is coming over. I'm running the LLM locally, so it's very fast, right? So we'll just parse it using the built-in get for the response here from the data. That get is how you grab the value from the key in a Python dictionary in Python. Then let's print out the chunk, which hopefully will just be the word maybe the space on the word or the punctuation. And with the repre chunk, we should be able to see more of the hidden characters as well, if there are any. It's looking good. So we've now are able to parse the message line by line and grab just the response portion, which has the spacing and the punctuation in it. This sleep is again for demonstration purposes. I'm going to have the AI write a story, and I kind of like it to come out at 300 millisecond intervals so that it's more like a visual novel type of experience here. Then we will yield the chunk to the screen. So the event is a keyword, and by convention we send a message, so you need to follow that format. Data is a keyword, and then the chunk here is the that piece of text that we're getting each time that's iterated through the loop. And the yield, there's a little error here because it needs to be in curly brackets because we're using SSE underscore starlet. The format's a little bit different than just standard SSE. So we're looking for a line that has a done, and if it does have a done, so that get is going to parse the output. Oh, very nice, very nice. It seems to be working. All right, good, good. Let's go to the HTML, and we'll set up the HTML so that it can receive and display the data. Just change the web page H1 to indicate that this is a streaming demo. And we'll create a new div for our content. We'll have an ID LLM-output for the div, which we will use HTMX to target the div with ID LLM-output. Make sure you put the pound sign when you specify it as a HX-target. So it's pound sign LLM-output. We're going to set up a swap to replace the content in the target before the end of it. So it should come up at the, it's working. So we'll change it to more like a rudimentary engine for a visual novel style. So I'll ask it to create a more significant piece of text here. So since the president of Oppkey, Jesse Casman, likes birds, we're going to create a story about a heroic bird. Jesse's helping me to assess the HTMX for use within Oppkey. So hopefully he'll go over the video as well too. And the story's looking quite good. So this is a lightweight LLM that I'm using, but it seems quite capable of making this type of story. This should serve as an experimentation base for us to adjust the formatting of the output from the LLM, either with telling it to do Markdown or HTML with a template. Because it's local, we don't have to pay for the OpenAI key use or actually mess with the security for the OpenAI key. So by using the local LLM, we can now experiment more with how the text from the LLM appears, the UI aspects of it, including more advanced formatting in the future. So I'm going to make some additional changes to help the people in my company help me to assess HTMX. We'll just make some simple changes right now with some visual elements. And one of them will be whether we can display an image prior to the output from the LLM. So I'm going to yield an image to the stream that's going to the web page, and we'll see whether the image actually comes up or not. So the data, which is in quotes, will be HTML, and we'll send the HTML directly to the stream, and the stream then should appear on the web page for the data portion. So we'll make the image 300 pixels, and we'll use this beautiful barn owl, which I'm getting from Pixabay. So you can just go to Pixabay and copy one of the images for the test. And we'll now alter the story, so it's a story about a barn owl and not just a bird. I've been thinking of different ideas to maybe make some thumbnails. So the bird is looking good. It's exactly where we want. If we wanted to have a break before the text, we could insert a BR into the yield stream and just pass the HTML tags directly into the stream. This is also how we can control the formatting to some extent right now. So if you're working with your colleague or your executive in the company on this, you may want to include them as part of the story or part of the demo, just to make your assessment more fun. So I'm using the triple quotes in Python, so everything in there will be a single string. I can do multi-line strings with the triple quotes. So the president of Oppkey likes to play hockey. I think he was a great hockey player in college. I think he also might have played at Stanford. But he's a passionate guy about hockey. And he's going to be part of the evaluation assessment. So it's kind of fun to put your coworkers or executives. And I'm also grabbing a picture of Jesse Casman when he's playing, is that hockey, street hockey? Okay. So I'll add his picture in with the bird. He's also a bird watcher. So the assessment should be kind of humorous for him, I feel. So we're going to set up the event and message. The data will be an HTML image tag. And for the source of the image, we'll use the image that he has up on the Oppkey site. So I'm going to insert a break, so that's the BR, prior to, above the image to give it a little bit more space. And then we'll use the image width of 200, because I think it's an upright rectangular image. And this has to be in single quotes, the 200 pixel. And we'll put a space here. and we'll specify the source, which is also in single quotes, because the entire message string is enclosed in double quotes. So it can get a little bit difficult to read, but maybe just double check it and make sure that you've got all the quotes in place. So let's open up a new tab and see whether it works. It's beautiful. And we have a more humorous story. In a town of Oakdale, about a heroic barn owl named Orion watching over the local ice rink. So this is a perfect humorous story to get your colleagues motivated with the assessment of HTMX. Hope you had fun as well. And thank you for joining me. I look forward to your comments. What are your impressions of HTMX? I'm trying to learn and compare myself as well. So if you have any comments about HTMX versus JavaScript, just drop me a line. Thanks.